everyone, and welcome to the Musical Ladder Portal. In today's video, we're going to be going over a new report titled Students' Tests. Now, this report was created to help assist admins and directors of schools with keeping track of students' completed tests. So to jump right in, as you can see, I am currently logged into the demo school as a director, and to get to that report, all we need to do is navigate to reports on our navigation bar and choose the new report, Students' Tests. Once that's clicked, it will of course bring you to our report. Now there are two different functions of this report. The first one being able to view your students' completed test, which will show all of your students' completed tests regardless of if they've swapped instruments, regardless of if they're taking multiple instruments, and regardless of teacher swaps. This will always show your students' completed tests no matter what. Now it will of course only show completed. This will not show any student's projected test or any student's outstanding test that has not yet been completed. So until a test is completed, it won't show up on this report. The first one being, of course, like I said, you can see all of your students' completed tests. So as we can see here, we have Heather A, who's taken piano tests all the way from apprentice up to master. We can scroll down a little bit more. Timmy Carter here, who has taken both piano and guitar, which means that he's most likely a dual instrument student. So he's taking both piano and guitar, and we can kind of see that he's worked from apprentice up to musician, and he started on Allegro and went up to Vivace, so on and so forth. You're going to be able to see all of your students' completed tests. Now the students, of course, will be displayed alphabetical by last name, and then their instruments will be linked together. So going back to Timmy Carter here, as you can see, his guitar tests are stacked together, as well as his piano, even though if we look at the completed dates, they're kind of intermingled. So the next section of this report is going to be students' most recently completed tests, and of course the easiest way to get to that is to choose it from this drop down and hit submit. You'll see that the title of the report does change, and what this is going to do is it's actually only going to show one test for each of your students per their instrument assignment. So as we can see here, we have Heather, who has just her master piano test, which would be her most recently completed test. She took it in January. If we scroll down to Timmy, as we can see, his guitar and piano and his most recently completed dates. Now, I will say that on the student's most recently completed test, we've had a lot of instances where schools like to switch a student from one instrument to the other while also keeping their current level. That is of course doable. I'm going to show you here in just a second how to do that, but I do want to let you know that if a student does completely switch instruments, their historical tests will still be displayed. So if Heather, which I'm going to show in a moment, goes from piano to voice and completes a test, we're still going to see her piano and her voice tests. You can of course export both of these reports to either a PDF or to Excel, and then that way you can have those as reference as well. So one of the big requests that we've had for this report was to keep track of students who swap instruments or are taking multiple instruments. I'm going to take Heather for an example, and we're actually going to go ahead and we're going to swap her instrument completely. We're going to get rid of her piano and we're going to assign her to a new instrument. So the easiest way to of course do this is to go home. We're going to search for Heather, and we're going to make sure of course that she is a student, so we're going to check that student box. We're going to hit Heather's name, and we're going to go ahead and edit her. And this is of course with schools who often reassign students to different teachers. You may be familiar with this. What we're going to do is we're actually going to again remove her piano assignment, and we're going to give her a new instrument. So we're going to give her voice, and we're going to give her a new teacher. We're going to select the same level. So this is for, like I said, instances where schools like to keep a hold of the student's level. We're going to go to master, and then we're going to choose the same level completed date. So that's why we do hold on to that here for directors. You can choose the same level completed date. We're going to go ahead and choose January the 7th, 2020, and we're just going to click off of that. When we finish making changes, Heather's going to have a new voice instrument, and so we're going to go ahead and to complete this, we're going to delete her piano instrument. Now, at this point, of course, once this piano instrument is removed, the student, teachers, and directors alike on the student's information bar will not be able to see these historical tests, but you will be able to see them on the report. So I'm going to show you that. So we're going to go ahead and click submit. Yes, we're sure. Now, since Heather is, of course, the first student of the school, she's going to show up right here. As you can see, that change did take place. We're no longer with Ava, and we have voice instead of piano. So if we open this up, as you can see, we're not seeing Ava, we're not seeing piano, and if we go to test, she does not have one because she swapped instruments. We're no longer going to be able to see those historical piano tests that she took. Okay. Now, if we do go ahead and we want to add a test, and this is strictly to display the changes in the report, we're going to go ahead and we're going to schedule a test and we're going to complete it. So I'm going to go ahead and schedule it for today. We're going to go ahead and complete it. We're not going to worry about sending an email. Normally, I would say don't do this because you want your students to stick to the projections. So if a student does change instruments like this, I would again suggest that you stick to the projected test report and assign them when they're supposed to be assigned. But for this particular example, we're going to go ahead and do it this way. So we're going to go ahead and submit. So, and then of course it brings us back. And as you can see, Heather now has moved up from master to superior. We're going to go to students test again. And as we can see, Heather now has all of her previously completed piano tests. And now she has her single voice test for superior. Okay. So as we can see, that was completed today. She no longer is assigned this piano instrument, but as a director or an admin, you can of course still retrieve those piano test information. Okay. Now, if we go to the other side, which is the student's most recently completed test, we'll hit submit. And again, like I said, even if you swap instruments, you're still going to see their most recently completed test for each instrument they've been assigned and had a test completed.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe down below to be kept up to date on any enhancements and updates coming to the Musical Ladder portal.